Hello my friends, it's Simon, and today I'll give you a tour of what I think is the best approach I've used for building a simple second brain system in Notion that anyone can use. A second brain is a digital system that helps you organise all your notes, clippings, tasks, projects, goals and habits all in one place. And you can download this one at bettercreating.com via the links below. So today's video is an overview tour of all of the sections of this latest Notion Second Brain template, where I'll also demo in depth a bit more of how you can use Simplified LifeOS to manage tasks and projects. I'll have some following videos coming up very soon on collecting and organising notes, clippings and journal entries in this. And if you want a bit more of a detailed breakdown on things like the habit tracker and the goal setting system in this template, you can watch the dedicated videos that are already linked below too. Now here's something exciting. With the recent release of Notion Calendar, the new app, I've also found some great ways to optimise this 2024 edition of my system to respond to that. And I've also responded to a bunch of feedback from existing users across all of my bigger LifeOS templates, because a lot of you are wanting this to improve small screen usability and navigation. I think I've got some good ways to do it, and I've tried to include some of those new Notion features like automations and database buttons that just were released for a smoother workflow. Now, before we dive in, if you downloaded the previous version of my simplified Notion LifeOS template from the 6th of April 2023 onwards, I'll be sending you access pretty swiftly. And if you downloaded before that, or even that analog planner a few years back, I'll send you some upgrade links to help you out if you want to jump onto this one. And finally, if you own one of those massive complete LifeOS templates, watch this space, because there's a new version of that template coming in a few months. I'm doing a load of work on it and taking inspiration from this. So first, why make a simple LifeOS template like this? Well, this year I've decided to focus on simplicity in my own setup, or rather a balance of optimization and simplicity. So it is powerful, but it's easy to use. Last year I completed one of the biggest projects I've ever attempted to create a truly complete all-in-one second brain productivity system in Notion. I think I largely succeeded. Thousands of you are downloading it, and it's perfect for a big percentage of people. But over the years, I've realized that many people just don't want all of that. It can feel overwhelming, too much of a learning curve, as often Notion can be for people, or just not necessary. There is a group of you that want the simplest system possible, but with all that great functionality and reporting, and to be able to just pick it up and make it work immediately. So this is my attempt to do just that in Notion. Make a powerful but easy to adopt and adapt second brain. Now that said, no tool works unless you adopt and understand the thinking behind it, but I'll try and share a bit of that here. So reflecting on what I think is truly essential for a personal productivity system, I've tried to keep this down to the following. First, we've got this home screen. Now, what I love about this home screen is you can see everything in one page, and on a mobile view, these headings are super easy to click and jump through to what you need. Now, I tend to build my systems like this. I make a synced block menu that will jump to the key dashboards. So if you want to jump to, say, like the goal setting and year planner, you can do it, a full guided meditation and reflection and goal setting exercise that you can work through. But the little button at the top, which if you keep it closed, just always takes you home. So that sits up here. And then these are all toggled headings, which will just give the essential everyday task items that you might want to do in a certain area on the home screen. So on this page, you'll see I can just toggle something open, log meditation, it adds it to my day, and I've done my habit tracking. I can maybe look at my task views and work through my tasks as I want. But the other great thing about this is each one of these is essentially one of these, an at mention of something. What that means is I can easily just click and jump to a single page view of it, and then I can go back home. The other thing about this home screen is that it's a single column. I used to have my menu down the side, but I think this is so much better now because on mobile, it's super easy to use. And so rather than using this top menu, you can just click through to each section. The only ones that are hidden in this menu are the journal and the goal setting yearly planner dashboard, and a year summaries, which just really shows you your year's everything that links to it. The rest of it are the things that I think you need to do. You need a place to quickly drop new tasks, projects, notes, or maybe a quick journaling entry, and I'll show you how this quick drop system works later on. I've got my habit tracker where I can also click and journal. The journal in this is a set of prompted entries that you can select as a template. I'm going to try this fear setting exercise, and it will generate everything you need to do it, and you'll see that it's linked it to the day, so it links it alongside all of your habits. We've got the tasks dashboard, a projects dashboard that shows you your key projects, and the main dashboard page for that, where you can see projects by what's in progress, what's not started, what you've archived, and so on and so forth. Jump back home. And we have a My Calendars view. So one of the exciting things about Notion recently is that they have created Notion Calendar. So you can open any database view as a calendar view. If I jump to Notion Calendar, you can see that I have linked my own task database and content database, where I can see my video releases or tasks that I'm working on, and it means that you can adapt the timing of when you're working on them and then see that update back in Notion. Really cool. And finally, down the bottom, a notes and clippings section. I've just got my priority view in the toggle, but if I jump to the dashboard, I then have priority and favorited notes and clippings, all of my notes sorted and all of my clippings sorted. Notion is a great place to gather notes and clippings and then link them to your projects and outputs. And finally, at the bottom of the homepage, we have a complete guide to how to use this system and a system toggle where all of the stuff that serves these views is kept. So whilst this is a complex build, it should be easy to use. And well, that's it. Yeah, people may want CRMs, finance trackers, content calendars, but that can either be added and integrated by the individual, or if you want a template with all of that stuff in it, then check out my larger complete Notion Life OS systems for that. This is the simplified Notion Life OS. Let's go deeper, and to do that, I want to walk you through the really simple first steps that anyone would take to then set themselves up on this system to start the year. Let's go. This is my quick start guide to how I would use this template if I got started. First of all, how do you navigate around it? There are two ways to navigate this. On the home page, you'll see this red block, which is essentially a synced block that copies to different pages, and you can open this toggle up and it will take you to different home pages. So if I go to the habit page, it will jump me to that page and the same view is there. So I close the toggle, the button at the top will always take you home. So this is a really nice quick way to navigate, and within it we'll have one of the first things we'll do, which is setting goals, the main page and the year summaries. We can also navigate this by just using the main home page to deal with things by opening toggles, but also you can click the app mention titles that will jump you to the specific dashboard page. So this might be for things you might less regularly look at, like a report of your journal entries. Normally you just want to click journal and journal, or it might be that you also use this to see the year summaries of the year that you're on, which will show you the related goals linked to it, the habits linked to it, and reports on all of those things, which I think is really nice. Now, if you download this template and want to start totally clean with it, you can clear all of my sample data in the master database pages. So to clear data, you can open the system toggle and click on the system databases. You don't want to delete the entire databases, but what you can do is delete all of the example tasks and projects that are in there. So I would click all of the tasks that are there and click delete, and they're gone. Same with the projects if you wanted to, but you might also want to go, actually, I want to keep bucket list, or I might want to rename one of them. So you can also just select the ones that you don't feel you need and you can delete. And you can just work down, the same with all the sample notes. I can delete them. Sample goals, if you wanted to, you could rename them, but again, I'm going to select them all and delete them. Delete the milestones as well. And in the years, probably not worth deleting them because you're going to need them. And then example stuff in the habit tracker. Yeah, let's delete all of those as well. This is part of the planning of your year. I'm going to delete those. I'm going to delete all of these. I'm going to keep the habits and rename them. I really recommend that. And I want to clear out the journal. So that will be a great way to get yourself clean and ready to go. So now when I come back, you'll see that there is nothing in the task system. So once you've cleaned it out, the next thing that you should probably do is start to set your goals, milestones, and do some yearly planning. The first sections to engage with are about goals and habits. I'll give an overview of this before we dive into tasks and notes, but there are dedicated videos on these sections that you can watch for standalone guides to how to use these in the template. They're actually their own standalone standalone templates, but they are exactly the same, just linked into this system, and you can see them in the link in the description. So the first thing you probably want to do is go into your goals and setting dashboard, and here we'll want to set up a new year if it doesn't exist, but it already does. And you would work through this process of planning your wheel of life out, reflecting on your year using this system, and setting goals into the system. But the easiest way to do it is add a new goal, name it. It's a very goaly way to say things. You link it to the current year. You can relate any projects to it. You can write in obstacles and solutions that you might think link to it, but that's basically it. There you go. And then down here, you can open this up and add a sub item, which would be a milestone. That would link to it. Another way to do it is to add a new milestone and again, link it to the current year and link the parent goal to the goal that you want to see. And milestones look like this, goals look like this. If you add things in this page, you'll probably find that you might want to just select the template so that the formatting works for you. And that is how I would add the goals into it. And then you'll know it's worked because you'll see your goal with your milestones popping up in the page above. Pretty cool. So all I'll say now is check out that dedicated video and come back here if you're in the process of setting up on this system. So if we jump back home, you'll always have a quick view of the goals you've set up for the year. The reason this is essential to have at the top of your home screen is that it ensures that all the actions you take below it are always feeding towards those goals you've set for yourself. The next thing you'll probably want to do is engage with setting some habits. So I decided that for this system, habits are things you'll do once a week or more. Anything over a longer interval can be integrated into the task manager. Tracking habits is one of the best ways to create meaningful behavior change and work towards the goals that you've set. And it's what Jerry Seinfeld has famously called the kind of building a chain system. So you make sure that you're always building a chain of habits. If you do it 21 times, it'll stick. So there is a detailed video and instructions on how to set up habits and even create this graph and tracking your progress that I've linked below. But this is essentially how the system works. You can each day add a new day and it will set up the day, link it to the current year. And when you're setting up your system, if it's a new year, you can make sure that you edit the today template to link to the current year. That's all you'll need to do at the start of each year. There's your daily log. And then these buttons relate to a set of habits that I've set. So when I click them, it will link them to the day. And if you want, you can get a free chart-based system that will link it to it, and away you go. And these are just ways to measure how I think my productivity has been for the day. This button will also create a new day. You just click Start New Day. So to set up a habit, I will not go into loads of details on this, but if you wanted to do it, you could rename my existing ones. So let's say that you wanted to use reading, it would exist like this. You would link it to the day. You would set the day you want to start it. So I'm going to set this now to the 1st of Feb. I want to end it at the end of the year, on the 31st of December, and I want to do reading 4 times a week. It then calculates that it's 47 weeks that you're going to do it for, so the target 4 times a week is 188, and it reports on all of that. You can also set an intention: when I go to bed, read the Kindle. You get the idea. It's a new habit, or you can use what was already there, very nice, and then you'll see the report. So when I add reading, it adds it to the day and updates that I've done 1 out of 188. The other thing you need to ensure you do is relate your habit to a goal so that it can then be tracked within that goal and you'll be able to see the results. And that is basically the habit tracker. Now, in this page, I have a journal. Now, a regular prompted journaling process is by far one of the biggest needle movers for me in getting on top of my life. And you can also do that in this system. I've integrated one of my first templates, my prompted journal, inspired by the Stoics, to use it. I'll share more of an in-depth guide in this journaling system, along with that notes and clippings video that's coming next. But you can also watch my older video linked below for a right laugh at when I was younger, if you want to know more. Now, the other side of the template focuses on managing your tasks and your projects day to day, and organizing and capturing all the notes and clippings that you have in one place to relate them. So let's do the simplest demo tour of how you can use this template for tasks from when you get first started, and then the daily actions and routine you'll need to engage with to make a system like this work. It's inspired by David Allen's Getting Things Done and a bit of Tiago Forte's Power Method, but really it's just the best process I've personally found to get organised and do more with less effort. There are really 3 elements to this task and project manager. You've got a tasks database and dashboard where you're able to view live tasks that have a date and a project in views like this, including things like things to do today, things to do tomorrow. You can mark them as complete using these new database buttons. Really cool. There's a weekly calendar, and we'll look at that in a moment, opening this in Notion Calendar, where you can also just, move tasks around as you wish. And I have this old analog system that I invented a while back, which people seem to love, so I've kept it. And all it is just a property in the task database where you can link it to just a day. So whilst things might have a due date or they don't, you can just have a view of tasks and link them to the days of the week. So there's that tasks view. You can see the projects that they link to down here. And really this system is made up of a tasks database and a projects database. And the whole thing is based on David Allen's system, Getting Things Done. So I highly recommend checking that book out, because tasks are one thing that you get done. Projects are anything that has more than one task. So if I click to the projects dashboard, you'll see I can have different project views where it will tell me how many tasks are done or completed. It will show me things that are due for review in a weekly review, but we'll look at that in a moment. And then the final section is this, the inbox. This is a quick drop system that can be used for not only tasks and projects, but also notes, clippings, and anything that you discover and you just want to get off your mind and into the system quickly and easily. But we can also use this as the beginning of the process of getting started with this template. Before we dive into that, let me show you on my mobile why a quick drop system like this is so powerful. You can set up on iOS, or any kind of button or link that you want to create that links to Notion, a widget. So on iOS, I can create a new widget, select Notion, and then a single page. If I just edit the one I've made, you'll see I've got my workspace connected there and the page I'm linking to, which is, in fact, in my demo, it is this page here. So I would just do this daily. I would just click on the quick drop and I would just underneath here go, oh yeah, demo the quick drop system. Now it might be to do this, you could use dictation, YouTube channel, pretty cool, but we could also do record first episode of your podcast. That is my favorite thing. But why are we putting it into this page? Well, you can see on here, it's dropping in to the main screen. That's why that's so powerful, because you can just quickly dump everything on a day and then process it into the system. Now, to process it into the system, in this quick drop system, I would just take my item and drop it into the relevant database here. And there it is, it's dropped into the task database. We also have the idea of dropping in new projects, and my YouTube channel is a new project idea, so I'm gonna drop that in there. The other way to create and add things in this is just to use these buttons, or just very quickly just create new here. And there is a default template for each of these. So for example, a new project, I might just wanna go my podcast, and it will just stay in the inbox. In tasks, a quick new task might be to go call mum. Now, when we drop them in like this, we can also fill them in either in the page and set them a due date, call mum tomorrow, and you can see that analog view I had from if I wanted to add it to that. There's also a daily priority, which just orders things in the order of priority in that day. It's really useful. I'll show you that in a bit, but I'm just gonna call that one a quick first task tomorrow, and it drops in. But it's still in the inbox, and to process things out the inbox in this system, you either have to mark it as complete, and that will just clear it from any view in this system. I love those new database buttons. Or you add the item to a project. I'm gonna call my mum as personal growth, there you go. And that filters it out of the system, and it will show up in the project page, and if it has a due date, it will show up in those views that I showed you a moment ago. So let's talk through the process from the start of getting into this system. So the first thing I want to do, either in my newly set up mobile view of this or on the desktop, is list everything that's on your mind. I call this a brain dump. So that might be projects, notes, every single item that's on your mind. The idea of a second brain is get it all out of your brain and into another one so you don't have to worry about it. So you would sit there and just list everything. Don't worry about what goes with what, just get it all out. Let me just put a couple of examples in quickly. Once you've done this, you would just drop these in. So in my tasks, I'm gonna drop everything in to the system like this. Record podcast episode, publicist, that's all going in there. Build a new landing page, there you go. My podcast is going into my projects. I've already got one in there, so that can be deleted. Go to the Olympics. Now I'm going to put that as a task to demo something else. Make sure you don't drop it into another task. And trip to Vietnam, that can go in there as well. There you go, you've dropped everything in. That's the first step. Let's look at setting projects up, which is the next step. Now you can do that here by working through these or opening up the pages, or you can do it in the projects dashboard. Let's go to the projects dashboard to show you that. And this would be the first thing that you want to do. Under not started, we'll see everything we've added that has not begun. So I'm going to jump into my podcast, and to set up a project, one of the things that we need to do is set it up as a weekly review. Now what I've actually got in this project system is an automation that generates some default project tasks for you guys, and really that is a really lovely little trick, because it means that every time you set up a new project, it will remind you in the to-do list to do two things, and that is to set the review frequency and start and end dates first off. So I'm going to set when I want my podcast to run. It's going to start today, and it's actually going to run, I'm going to give it an end date, which is going to be end of July. I want to do it over those months. And what is the review? Well, David Allen has a thing called a weekly review, and it's probably the most important thing you can do in this system. Remember to have a habit of looking at your projects, reviewing them, updating them, and keeping on top of them. That means that not all your tasks have to have a due date. It means that you can look at the tasks in the project and just check on them as you need. So to do this, we want to set a last review date, which is going to be today because we've just started. How frequently in days we want to review it. So I want to review that every 7 days, every week, and it will give me a due date of when it's due for review. Let's say that the review date was a week earlier. You'll see it pops up in due for review because it is now due for review. So I would work my way through it and go, actually, I've done that now. I can mark that as complete, and I'm creating my objectives. That's currently in progress. Add any new tasks you wanted to here, set your objectives and all that kind of stuff. Look at your notes and clippings. Once it's reviewed, you can just click mark project as reviewed, and it updates the last review date and it clears it from the due for review system. The power of the weekly review, I cannot recommend it enough. But that is your first setup job. Make sure that the template is engaged. Make sure you've got your start and end date. I'm just setting my start date there, not worrying about that. Last review date, I'm gonna make that on a Friday because I wanna do it on Fridays and I wanna review that every week. I could fill these in here, fantastic, that's done, that's done. There you go, and you've set up your projects. And then once they're going, I'm probably gonna change their status to in progress so that they view in my live and in progress project views. Once projects are set up, you need to add your tasks to those projects. So you go back to your inbox and manage these. Now, this might be the opportunity to talk to you about what would be a daily process using this system. Order your tasks the day before by priority, so they're ready to go. Quickly drop any ideas that you have or new tasks that come up through the day using the quick drop system. Then get to work through your tasks and tick them off. Move them along the Kanban board if you want. And at the end of the day, you can zero the inbox that you've created, process them into the system, and make adjustments so you're ready to go and repeat. So this is how to process tasks from the inbox. You would have dropped these in using your quick drop each day, and you would have dropped them into the system. So I would suggest that through the day, you're dropping them in, and then at the end of each day, there's a little bit of admin, maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day, where you drop everything into this and process them. So you're gonna either do it here or open them up and work on them in the bigger view, because then I can make sure that they are nicely formatted. So you want to set the due date. So I'm going to say cleaning my bike. I'm going to do that Saturday. I'm going to add it to a project. I haven't actually got one here, but I'm going to add a new one, which is Moto Life. There you go. Add it to that. And it's adding it to a project that filters it from the system. Let me show you another example. Due date of record first podcast episode. I'm going to do that on the 16th, and the deadline is also going to be the 16th, and I'm going to make the project my podcast, and there it goes, you see, disappears. Let's say that I did this task. I'm going to mark that one as complete. This one, research the podcast episodes. Yeah, maybe let's do that from here and until an end date here, and we're going to set the deadline as it needs to be done by the 14th, and the project is my podcast, and so on and so forth. And that is how you gradually clear it. Now, the joy of this is adding due dates will drop them into those views we had on the main dashboard. Just adding them to a project means that they turn up only in the project. So my trip to Vietnam, for example, I might just want to not give it a due date and add it to my bucket list, along with go to the Olympics. That's also going in my bucket list. Publish this week's social media. I'm going to do that tomorrow, and I'm going to link it to YouTube. And this is based on David Allen's do, delegate, or defer. So do, click it as complete. Defer, add it to a project with a due date. Delegate, you might want to add yourself an extra property and just add a person, and you can share this system with someone else. There you go. So probably at the end of the day as well, the final thing I would do is go back to my task list. I would look at my task by due date and just reorganize my day. So when planning the next day, you can also use the daily priority to set the order of tasks. That's going to be first, that's going to be in the morning, and I'm actually going to move this one into here, and I want to do it in the afternoon. Well, actually, maybe that's the one thing I've got to do, and it reorders it. How cool is that? There you go. You've set up your day. You can see all of your to-do list items for the week here, and move them along as they get done. You can also see them in a weekly calendar, and that means that each day you're just able to work on your to-do list and mark things off as they happen. The last part of this task system that I want to tell you about, because it's truly exciting, is the addition of Notion Calendar. There it is. And you'll see in Notion Calendar, we have a tasks database. So this is actually my task database, and we can see various things are going on. But let's just jump over to calendars here. So my calendars, which we can drop down and have a view of, I've added this to the system because it's an incredibly useful way to visualize things, from your habits to your journaling, tasks by deadline, but also here is tasks calendar. And this is the one I want to demo. We have a button here called open in calendar. So if I click this, it is going to add the tasks database here in the calendar. I'm just going to hide this one for now. So if we can see this, we can see that there are all my tasks. Now the power of this is that I can take this and place this at a specific time, social media, drag it over a period of time. Calling mum, I wanted to do it early. I'm going to pop it in there. And cleaning my bike, I also want to do that on that day. Drop it in and extend it over the evening. Now I can line this up alongside my other calendars and weekly schedules, see where they can fit. But the best thing about it is, if I now jump back to Notion, you'll see that these now have due dates that are adjusted to the calendar. It's now moved it 11 till 12 in the system. It's unbelievably powerful, and this is the limit of using things in calendars is not great, but again I can change it here. If I move this to Wednesday, if I now jump back to Notion Calendar, you'll see that Cool Mum jumps to Wednesday. You can view what you like. I could also show my projects here, right? Because I've got my timeline for these. The YouTube channel is going to last over that period. Say, for example, it's not very long for a YouTube channel, is it? But if we open this in calendar, we'll also be able to see project durations listed in it. Really cool. So I can also remove calendar from the list, and it disappears, and it's just easy to drop in and take back out as you need it. I thoroughly recommend jumping on Notion Calendar, and that is the joy of these views. Now you'll notice in my system that I have not used Notion's subtasks. And honestly, it's because I think that's one level too much. I've got it in my Complete Life OS system if you want to try it out, but this simplified version, it's just tasks and projects. I think it makes life easier. You can filter things really easily. You can see them as you want. It's much, much more powerful for me, and it's the one that's really stuck. So that's why that's not there. Once you've completed tasks, they go to the task bin. All your deleted tasks are down in the system menu on the home screen. If you go into the system databases and click completed task bin, you can see all of the tasks that you've added. And with projects, the thing to say is if you want to archive a project, you can do that down here, clicking this button, or you might want to, for example, in YouTube, just click mark project complete and archive. It will disappear it from the view, and you'll find it in archived and completed projects here. So that's the overview of this new template. In my next video, I'll demo that notes and clippings system with a quick tutorial on how to use it. But if you do choose to download, all the instructions are included in the guide. And I'll also show you that updated prompted Stoic journaling system that's in there too. Now I hope this video has given you a bit of inspiration to build your own Notion setup if you wanted to, or that you enjoy this if you download it. So definitely get over to bettercreating.com to download the template. And you'll also find my smaller templates and sections of this available too. And for more details and ideas behind those goal setting systems that I mentioned, you can watch this video next, or this one on note-taking in Notion in general. I'd love it if you would drop a comment below about what you thought of it, maybe even share this video with a friend who might value it. Definitely get subscribed to the channel if you aren't, for more great ideas, tools and tech to help you build your best life. I'll see you later. Bye.